Hey guys, so this is my Dead Seal Lich build. It's a low life build. Maximum endurance and resistances, can pretty much face tank anything you want. Can do 200 corruptions. Can tank T3 Julra or any of the dungeon bosses. And the way you play this is you cast Reaper Form, you cast Transplant, Dead Seal, and then spam Rip Blood like this. And yeah, that's how the build works. Let's get into it. First is we have the skills. Please bear with me because 4 of these skills interact with each other, and I will do my best. I will do my best to explain it as simple as possible. So first is Rip Blood. Rip Blood, we put 5 points on Splatter, 1 point on Eviscerate, 1 point on Crimson Blood, 4 points on Arcane Absorption. What Arcane Absorption does, it grants us global spell damage on hit, and it stacks, which is why we need Rip Blood to have as high of a cast speed as possible. So we get 1 point on Rip Spirit to turn it into necrotic damage. We got 5 points on Hemomancer for the 30% cast speed, and 3 points on Thirst for the 9% cast speed and -3 mana cost. So what this Rip Blood does, or the main purpose of our Rip Blood, is just to spam and gain global spell damage on hit stacks or arcane absorption stacks or our Dead Seal. It increases our Dead Seal's damage. So next is Transplant. Transplant is our mobility skill and our Bone Curse proc skill. So we've put 3 points on Fleeting Form, 3 points on Acolyte's Fervor, 3 points on Dance of Blood for the Rip Blood, 1 point on Rain of Blood, 1 point on Doombringer, 5 points on Cursed Exile, and 2 points on Scarlet Rain. Next we have Dead Seal. So this is the typical Dead Seal. We've put 5 points on Corrupted Consciousness, 3 points on Desperate Shroud to get Deadlock, which reduces our health to 33% of our maximum life. Then we got 1 point on Mortal Pulse and 4 points on Tachycardia. We have 2 points on Moratorium for the increased duration, 2 points on Carrion Breath, 1 point on the Quick and the Dead, and 1 point on Doom Call. So for those of you who are new to using Dead Seal or Lich, Doom Call does is we gain a stack of Dam each second. Dam is an ailment. Here we go. Dam deals necrotic damage over time and can stack an unlimited number of times. So we are damned each second that Dead Seal is activated, but in return we get damage increased per dam stack on us. And the fourth one is Reaper Form. So we got Mistress of Decay, 2 points, 4 points on Harbinger of Blood to maximize Reaper Form, the uptime of Reaper Form, 1 point on Ghastly Flow, and these are our buffs for our build. 4 points on Reaper's Curse to increase crit chance and increase damage, and 4 points on Death's Door so that we can increase our damage even further because we are going to be running this on low health. We got 2 points on Death Comes Quickly for the swiftness chance on kill, for the increased movement speed, and 3 points on Rapid Destruction for another increased 30% attack speed for our Rip Blood. So our last skill is Bone Curse. Bone Curse tie these 3 skills together. So we put 4 points on Conflation, 1 point on Sigil of Mortality for marked for death, 1 point on Oppressive Gaze to make Mark of Death unlimited duration on the enemy. This is good for bosses if you don't want to spam teleport too much and just want to spam Rip Blood and Death Seal, this is the node for it. 4 points on Defile Defenses for the Armor Shred chance, 2 points on Iron Maiden, 3 points on Brittle Bones for the kill threshold. This is, you can really notice this when you use it on a boss, especially when the boss is almost low life, it will instantly disappear. Next is 3 points on Cursed Limbs. So what this does is, whenever we cast Bone Curse, we can also cast Bone Curse using Rip Blood for the next 3 seconds. We can apply Bone Curse on hit at any skills. So we can apply Bone Curse using Death Seal and Rip Blood whenever we cast Bone Curse. We have 1 point on Acute Infliction and 1 point on Illusion of Pain. So what this does, how Bone Curse works for this setup is, whenever we cast Teleport into an enemy, we apply Bone Curse and mark for death on the enemy. Bone Curse will fall off after 1 hit, but it will always crit. But we put 3 points in here, so whenever this one falls, another one will replace it. In short, Bone Curse will be amplified for the next 3 seconds. That's what you just need to remember. And here's a demonstration on what I mean by this. So you can see every dummy has a Bone Curse. Let's remove all the Bone Curse for now. There we go. So there are no Bone Curse on these dummies. I am spamming Rip Blood right now and it's dealing about 2,000 to 8,000 damage. Yeah, it does about 2,000 to 8,000 damage without Bone Curse. Now I will apply Bone Curse using Transplant and we'll compare the damage. So I'm dealing about 26,000. Can apply it again to see it. 36, 40, 44. So yeah, Bone Curse amplifies our Rip Blood, and of course Bone Curse deals much of the damage itself. So it's kind of debatable if we can get to this one, since we are scaling on necrotic damage. But I prefer to use Armor Shred chance, but maybe it is a good idea to go to this one. Maybe I'll remove 3 points in here and try this one next. So yeah, let's go with the equipment. First is the helmet. So for the equipment, mainly what you need is resistances, health, spell damage, necrotic damage, and critical strike chance. Those 5 are what you need for this build. The base doesn't really matter, but if you want to min-max it, you can choose to get critical strike chance or increased area of effect. So for my helmet, I got increased necrotic damage while transformed and health and endurance threshold. For my amulet, I got a increased critical strike chance, spell damage, and poison resistance. Also, if you can afford to get frailty on hit on one of your suffixes in your equipment, that would be great, because frailty reduces the damage dealt by the enemy by 6%, and it stacks up to 3 times, so that's 80%, 18% less damage on you. So if you can get frailty, get it. Next is Marina's Lost Soul. So this is the mandatory unique that you need for your Death Seal to increase greatly. The damage of the Death Seal increased greatly because of the spell damage and necrotic damage. Also cast speed for our Rip Blood. And the main skill, or sorry, the main stats is you are damned when you cast a spell. So the faster you can cast your Rip Blood, the the more damage stacks you have on you, the greater your damage at that seal will be. So if you can get that to more than 10 every time you use that seal, that's already really good. That's 100%, I think. Yeah, that's 100%. Alright, next. Armor. I got a T6 Vitality armor and increased health, T5, and elemental resistance. You don't need the mana because Rip Blood is so low mana cost and it should not even deplete your mana pool, so you don't need mana. This is bricked, the the prefix mana. Next is Catalyst. This is the most important one because the base is important. You need to have Crystal Skull as your catalyst because it gives us flat 5% spell critical strike chance. So if you can get that to 6%, I think you can still roll this into a higher one. Get it. The higher your critical strike chance, the better. And for the prefix, spell damage, critical strike chance, and I got this one sealed, spell critical strike chance. So yeah, you can see that this is very much min-maxed. For the rings, it's just your typical rings, necrotic spell, health and elemental resistance. Same as over here, critical strike chance, resistance, and endurance threshold. For my belt, I got a dual health for the suffixes and a necrotic damage for the prefix. For my gloves, I got bracers because the base stat gives us increased critical strike chance, and I got cast speed in here also, and just resistances. For my boots, same old movement speed, cooldown, recovery speed, resistance, and intelligence. Now for the relic. This relic is completely optional. You don't need this, but it's good to have because 4 out of 5 of its stats are being used in our build. 40% endurance, so you can max out your endurance pretty much quickly when you have this one. And I got a high roll endurance threshold, so there's no reason for me not to use this one. And also 11 strength, and when a hit leaves you below endurance threshold, you are slowed and release a powerful wave of void every 4 seconds. So what this means is that I cast Oblivion Wave whenever I get hit below my endurance threshold. My endurance threshold is 979. When I cast Death Seal, it's 767, so it's way inside the endurance threshold. And whenever I get hit, I get another extra wave. It's an Oblivion Wave. It is void. It stacks with spell and vitality. It's not something extravagant, but it's a good additional for our build. And even though it has a 4-second cooldown, our Death Seal has 4.2, so we are going to use it every time that we use Death Seal. It's going to activate every time that we use Death Seal. And now for the idols. The idols, I focus more on cooldown recovery speed for Transplant, since I do want to spam Bone Curse as much as possible for the extra damage, and since it's below 2.9 and I got this one for the next 3 seconds, it means that whenever the Bone Curse on hit ends, whenever this one ends, I can cast Transplant again, so it's like 100% uptime for Bone Curse. So you got cooldown recovery speed with Transplant. This one is good because the prefix has 45% increased damage while transformed. If you can get that on 2 of your idols, then use them. It gives us significant damage boost, cooldown recovery speed, and cooldown recovery speed. The other ones are just resistances and health, especially this one. And that's it for our equipment. Next, the character sheet. This is my character sheet. So high intelligence, high vitality. The strength came from this relic right here. I don't know what strength gives us. Increased armor. Okay, so yeah, we get increased armor on our strength. My health is 2300. Health regen, mana regen, movement speed is very good, especially since we do have death comes quickly, so this can still increase, and we get haste after using that seal or after that seal releases. So yeah, it's a pretty fast build. Next is resistances. I'm over capped, so even if I get marked for death, it doesn't affect me that much, except for I guess void and physical. So my armor is 600, cast speed, and this is my spell damage and necrotic damage, and my spell strike chance is at 52. Ideally, you would want this to be at around 60, but I can tolerate 52 since our death seal gives around 240%. So ideally the critical strike chance should be 76 if I'm not mistaken. But we can work with this. It doesn't the build is still good with this kind of critical strike chance. And this is my stat whenever I'm not on Reaper form, and whenever we go on Reaper form, it increases, and whenever we go on Death Seal, it increases further. You can see how powerful this build is. It can do 200 corruptions. You can face tank any bosses on Empowered Monolith. Most of them. And yeah, can farm pretty decently in high corruptions. So that's it for this build. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you about the blessings. For the blessings, you can have anything you want. You can have anything you want. Endurance threshold, Virez. What's important is critical strike avoidance from the Reign of Dragons. And there's one more. I think it's in here, Spirits of Fire. If you really want to min-max this build, I suggest you get this, the Grand Promise of Death on the Grand Heart of the Caldera, because it gives us chance to shred necrotic resistance on hit, and because of our fast cast speed, we can definitely get max necrotic shred on hit. So if you want to farm for this blessing, I suggest you do it. It will make your farming faster and can kill bosses much faster. So I'll show you the gameplay right now. Let's get into all of the Empire. Sorry, I'm not sure if I have full stability on this. I'll show you two gameplays, one on bosses if this has enough stability already, but if not, I'll show you a 200 corruption done Monolith. It's not good enough. It's only 793 and 111 corruption. So I'll just show you the high corruption gameplay. Another good thing about this build is that you don't need to check on enemy modifiers. You can just right click an echo and just run through it. As you can see, I have 230 corruption, 5 Gaze of Oribus, meaning that I've already killed the boss 5 times. And yeah, let's get into it. You don't need to read the enemy modifiers. They won't affect your build. That's how strong this build is. Okay, so I can use this. So that's basically it, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. Got to focus on the armor. So that's it for this build. I hope you guys enjoy and see you later.